On a CDA exam, you will be expected to demonstrate your understanding of fine motor development, which falls under Competency Standard 2, to advance physical and intellectual competence. A common scenario-based question will describe a child's actions and ask you to identify the developmental stage or select an appropriate activity to support their growth. Let's break down the precise progression the exam will test you on. It begins at birth with the palmar grasp, which is a reflex where an infant's fingers curl around an object placed in their palm. This is involuntary. From around 4 to 7 months, this evolves into a raking grasp. Here, the infant uses their fingers like a rake to sweep objects closer. Then comes a critical milestone, the pincer grasp, typically developing between 8 and 12 months. This is the ability to pick up a small object, like a puff cereal, using the tips of the thumb and forefinger. The exam will test your knowledge of this sequence and the associated age ranges. A common exam trap is to confuse these early grasps or their timelines. For instance, a question might describe a 6-month-old using a pincer grasp, which is developmentally advanced, and you would need to identify that as atypical for the age. As children move into toddlerhood, between 1 and 2 years old, they typically hold a crayon in a fisted hold, also called a palmar supinate grasp, using their whole arm to make large scribbles. By 3 to 4 years, this refines into a digital or static tripod grasp, where they hold the crayon with their thumb and first 2 fingers, but the movement still comes from the wrist and arm. The final stage, which emerges between 4 and 6 years old, is the dynamic tripod grip. This is the mature grip where finger movements control the writing tool, allowing for precise marks. A trick question might suggest that a 3-year-old should already have a perfect dynamic tripod grip. Knowing this progression prevents you from falling for that. To remember the grip progression, use this mnemonic: P, powerful rakes, pinch, 4, delicate drawing. This stands for palmar, raking, pincer, fisted, digital, and dynamic. The CDA exam also assesses your ability to plan appropriate activities for strengthening hand muscles necessary for these grips. You should provide materials like playdough, child-safe tongs for moving cotton balls, and eyedroppers for water play. Supervised activities with beads and string also build dexterity. A major point of confusion is when to correct a child's pencil grip. It is crucial to avoid forcing a mature grip too early. This can hinder natural development. Instead, focus on providing strength-building activities. Scissor skills follow a similar predictable sequence. Around age 2 to 2.5, a child might start making small snips on the edge of paper. This progresses to cutting along a straight line around age 3, then to curves and circles around age 4, and finally to more complex shapes like squares by 4.5 to 5 years old. Your role, and what the exam will test, is your ability to provide the right materials and support at each stage, aligning with Competency Standard 2 by promoting physical development through appropriate learning experiences. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.